Hello everyone and welcome to this week's EBN Business Chat with me, Glenys Chatterley, and the fabulous Carina Lewis. One of the things that you need to know about Carina, because there are a lot of fabulous things about her, is that she makes cakes. I mean, what more do you need? So I thought we'd get her on. Unfortunately, she's not brought any samples, but if you ever meet her, talk to her about lemon drizzle cake. And we're going to talk about business cakes, quite a lot about cakes, and then perhaps a bit more about cakes. So Carina, thank you for coming along. Tell me a little bit about your business.
Good morning, Glenys. So my business is a cake business. It's called Cakefully Heaven and been running just over 3 years now. And sorry about that.
That's okay.
Yeah, I switched it off now. So been running for just over 3 years. Started out as just a little...
Let's stop. Let's do Zoom. Hello everyone and welcome to this week's business chat with me, Glenys Chatterley from EBN, which everybody calls EBN, because I used to say Effective Business Network, everybody calls it EBN, but everybody calls it EBN. So this week I've got the fabulous Carina Lewis with me. Amongst other fabulous things is what she does for a business. So I'm going to let her tell you what she does. Carina, hello.
Good morning to you. Good morning, everybody. Lovely to be here. So I have a cake company and it is called Cakefully Heaven. I've been running it for over 3 years now and started out just as basically as a hobby. I gave up a job. I walked out of a job, which I've never done in over 40 years, but I had enough. And I sort of thought, well, what do I do? You know, I was like, I'm sort of stranded. And friends sort of said, oh, you know, you can do this. You've been making us cakes for years. And, you know, and I thought, okay. So my first ever thing to do was for Haven House Hospice for children. And I did a little table and I sold gluten-free and vegan cupcakes and biscuits. And it went down really well. So I thought, I think I could do this. And that's when Cakefully Heaven sort of started. So yeah, so I work with a lot of people that have quite severe allergies. So not just being vegan, but they've got Crohn's or they're going through cancer treatment and they still want to have their cake and eat it. But obviously you can't go into a shop and buy a completely sugar-free, fat-free cake with no additives and all the rest of it. So that's why they come to me, because it's all fresh, made to order. And being a chef for over 41 years, says it very quickly, I'm able to make recipes tailor-made for people's needs.
Fantastic.
So that's what it's all about.
So the ones that I've tasted, because I've had the lemon drizzle cake and the chocolate cake, which was so delicious, I actually took some next door because otherwise I was just going to stuff the whole lot in my face. And I thought that's not going to be a good look. So the ones I had, were they just for us people who eat all the sugar and fat and everything we can get our hands on?
Yeah, basically, unless you tell me otherwise, then it will be just what we call an everyday cake, because I don't want to make anybody feel any different from anybody else.
Yeah.
So I'll never say it's a special cake. I will always say it's an everyday cake, or it's a vegan, gluten-free, sugar-free, whatever the need is.
Yeah. So what I wanted to make sure is that people didn't think you only did for people. No. For the ones like myself who basically if it's got
everything,
get it, bring it on. Yeah,
absolutely.
Now, when that changes, maybe.
There are two things that people need to know about why I do what I do. Exactly. And what I do is because I don't use any nuts in anything that I do except for one day of the year, and that's for Christmas, when I marzipan all my Christmas cakes. Then the kitchen gets completely scrubbed down again, everything gets put away, and it's completely nut-free.
Fantastic.
And I think that's really, really important. And I don't use dairy products at all, because that way nothing ever gets mixed up.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, that's really good. And I know people who have, you know, very severe issues. And that's just so reassuring for them, isn't it? That,
Yes,
you know,
absolutely.
it's your awareness of the problem. So absolutely, that
Yeah.
enables me. So does it come from a place of you having something, without giving me your medical details, but
No, I mean, I had IBS for a very, very, very long time. And then I had a gastric bypass done, which didn't cure the IBS, because I can go for years without anything, and then suddenly I'll have a flare up. So I know what it's like to feel, bloated and have all the problems that you get. But also, I still want to be able to eat my cake, my biscuits, my savory
yeah,
stuff. But it was important that I understood what all these ingredients were, because it's not just a case of going and getting a gluten-free flour, because they all have different ingredients in them. So somebody might be allergic to maize flour as well, and some of the gluten-free flours have got maize flour in. So I have to be, when I have a new client, I have to go through a whole long list, so I know that what I do for that client is perfection
for them. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's well, usually at this point, I usually ask, well, why do you do what you do instead of someone else? But your passion really, I mean, I can't think why I'd ask that anyway, because why wouldn't you want to make cakes? I just don't understand that really. So you've told me about what you've done, and I know it's going well because of previous conversations we've had, so that's fantastic. So what would be your top if people were looking for somebody who did what you do, what would you say they need to think about?
Okay, so it's very important to know that whoever you're going to, whether it be me or anybody else, that everything is fresh, because I don't freeze anything. I think that's very important. A lot of places freeze their cakes. I don't. Everything is fresh. You also need to know that all the insurances, you've got all the insurance, so you're covered. God forbid 100 times, you had a problem, you gave somebody something, there was something in a cake, or you gave them an upset stomach, you need to make sure that they're insured. There's a lot of people during COVID that have started up cake businesses and they're not insured. And, it might look lovely, but I wouldn't go there. Yeah. So those are the two very important things. And three, also to know what your client needs. Yeah. And to go that extra mile to find what the right ingredients are. I think that's very, very important.
So it's the fact it's the fact that you, if I'm thinking about, well, should I go to Carina? It's the fact that when I talked to you, you said previously about a long list. The fact that somebody shows me a long list of things they're going to check makes me reassured. So that's got to be
absolutely
a good thing.
And it's about knowing what you're actually dealing with. It's like, why, if you've got IBS, how it affects you, or you have cancer, how it affects you. You have to think about the person as well. So it's a long list, but it's not really a long list, if you know what I mean, because it's just the basic, but it's just going that little bit further.
Absolutely. And also it's about knowing knowing your stuff and protecting the people who caring about your customers, and that's always going to be a good thing. So you've not long been in business, so what would be your advice to somebody starting a business? And usually at this part I go, don't do it. What would your advice be?
Right, my advice would be, don't do what I did, because I did it all upside down and inside out. And if I knew then what I knew now, it would have been a lot more smooth and plain sailing. Make sure you've got the right people behind you. So if you're going to do a website, make sure you get the right person that understands what you want and how you want to be portrayed. It's very, very important. Make sure you've got a really good bank account as well, that people can access easily to pay you. Or if you have other ways of people paying you, like I've got a machine, that if I'm out, people can pay me. things like that. Also make sure you've got all your bookwork up to date, everything. Don't do as I did, do as I'm doing now, is what I could say.
Yeah.
But really make sure you have the right people around you and know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're starting a business, don't start a business because you think you can do it. You need to know you can do it. I have 41 years of being a chef, so I know what I'm doing and that I can do it. And that's the important thing.
I think that's the other thing is, I would say, is because I would agree with you. You know, I'd been more successful sooner if I'd have known then what I know now. Because
Exactly.
like you, I just didn't want to do what I was doing in the corporate world, and thought time for a change with no idea what I was doing. And when I look back, I did good work, and I did. But when I look back at some of the things, I mean, you know, just. If I'd have known that, if I'd have known then what I know now, it'd have been so much easier. And it's that about being easier. And you can get caught up in the doing, like for you, the making of the cake. You can get caught up in that. And the other thing is just sort of, oh well, you know. But yeah, and to take up your point about the website, you need to trust the people in all of this, suppliers. You need to trust the people that you're working with, that they're going to keep your brand safe.
Yeah.
You know,
and it's about believing in yourself as well. It's taken me a long time to do that. And once you believe in yourself and you know you can do it, and you know you're supplying good stuff, you know, you know that you're halfway there. Really, every day is a learning curve. You never ever not learn.
No,
and it's important to do that.
And you're right. I'd not thought of that in that way, but it is every day you learn something new. And it's that, you know, don't get complacent. I know it all, because you never do, because things happen. I mean, I've just come out of a meeting and somebody was talking about Facebook, and apparently it's not good enough that people like you anymore. Or that they follow you anymore. They have to do something. Well, I didn't know that when I went into this meeting, and now I do. And now I can do something about that. But for me, that's what networking's about, you know. So when a different sort of, when did you start networking? Because I know you network now. When did you start?
I've been networking for about 4.5, 5 years.
Right.
My very first networking meeting, I walked in, I was absolutely totally naive, didn't know what I was doing. I took some cakes along for people to try. They loved it. So I carried on networking. So I do different networkings. And it's lovely because you connect with so many different people. You make really good friends, you make really good collaborations. And I just think without the networking, I wouldn't be here. It's as simple as that. It's word of mouth, and it's about their trust in you, that they can pass on your name to somebody else. And that's what's important.
And keep their reputation intact, because people don't sometimes understand that. If I refer you to somebody, it's my reputation that's on the line. It's yours as well, but actually I care about your reputation, but I really, really care about mine, because it's taken a long time to build it. But it's I was introduced to networking at a very early stage, which was useful. But I realized I'd always done networking. We just didn't call it networking. And the first ever meeting I ever went to, it was nuts. They were all stood on the table doing woohoo at 7 o'clock in the morning. And I thought, I don't do woohooing at 7 o'clock. I mean, in my head I do, but certainly no. And then somebody introduced me to a different branch of that. And I thought, oh, okay, they're not so, they're a bit more, you know, there are moments, but not all the time. But it was
not all networking.
Woo! And I thought, no, let's just get to know each other a bit better than that before we start standing on the table.
Not all networking groups are good.
No.
Some of them are,
That's one of the things I say about EBN. EBN is not for everybody, and everybody is not for EBN. We have a style, and people either get it or they don't, and sometimes they get it after a bit. But most people walk in and go, oh yeah, okay, I get this. Or they go, oh God, this is weird. Because for those people who are wondering what we do, we don't do the stand on the table, obviously, but it's about being business focused, but being relaxed. And if you look at the website, we're laughing. And that's what you should be doing, because you don't have to be serious about business. You can have fun. You can, have a bit of banter, as long as it doesn't get inappropriate and out of control. But it is about being relaxed while you're networking, because that way the relationships get built quicker.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Fantastic. So we've sorted out how to sort out a business. Don't do what either of us did. So we'll try and find somebody who can go, oh yeah, I had a strategy and all of that. I didn't. I just wandered in. Yeah. Oh, I do now. And like I'm very strong on strategies, because if you don't I realize if you don't have a strategy, you don't know where you're going, and you may get there by chance, because sometimes I did. But I'd rather have a strategy and, a business plan and all that. But what can I tell you? I've learned after 25 years what needs to be done. So what do you do when you're not making cakes? What do you do in your spare time?
So in my spare time, I love talking with my grandchildren. I've got a grandson who's 4 and he loves FaceTiming me. So we do that. I love reading.
Right.
Watching films. I used to love going to the cinema, but obviously, in this day and age, it's not going to happen. So I do love a good film. And the thing is, I still carry on cooking, because there's other things that I do as well. So I'm sort of always learning, trying new recipes. So I do that in my spare time as well. So
Fantastic. Well, I mean, what sort of, I need to ask you 3 questions, so I'll ask you all at once, and then, well, 2 are a question and 1's an offer. So what type of books do you like to read? What type of films do you like to see? And if you ever need a taster for any of your new cooking, I just thought I'd slip that in. So what sort of books do you like?
Oh, I can't tell you that.
Okay. Ooh, even more now, we all want to know. I'll find out later and let you know.
There is a very, very good book that is called Diamonds and Secrets, or Secrets and Diamonds. It's by Michelle Harris.
Right.
So if you like a really good gripping book that has intrigue, sex, and has left me hanging on for the last however many years, and she's in the process of doing a sequel, that is a very, very, very good book to get.
Excellent. Okay. And there is a sequel, so we won't have to wait for as long as you did.
Yeah.
Perfect.
It's not like the 50 Shades of Grey. This has got a really good story into it, and it got me gripped, and I keep hounding her, because she's a friend of mine, to do this other book, and she said she's going to start doing it soon. So I will be the first person to buy her new book.
Excellent. We've got an advert in for her as well. And what kind of films do you like watching?
So my favorite film all time is Barbra Streisand's Star is Born.
Yeah.
I just love it. I love the music. I love the whole story. I just think it's just amazing. So I'm very I like the thrillers occasionally, but I like something that's got a good story with a little bit of oomph in it, and a little bit of sadness.
Yeah.
It has everything in it.
Yeah.
So that's my sort of thing. That's my thing.
I think I was affected, because when I was a kid, the film was Bambi, so it shows how old I am. And I think I was affected by the tragedy of it all. So I can't watch anything above a 12, really. A 15s, I'm okay with some bits, but if there's any violence, I can't cope. And so sometimes Beloved has to go and watch a film, and then either buy the DVD so we watch it home, or I go to the pictures. But I can't wait to go back. We're making a list already, and it's I love going to the cinema. I love watching films. My beloved, even more than me, and we go a lot. We go to the
pictures. It's a nice experience.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know what it's going to be like after COVID and all the rest of it. It's going to be very different.
Well, when I was a kid, cinemas were huge things, and then they started getting the little ones. And I can remember the first time I went there to those little one with my mum, and we watched. It might have even been Mary Poppins or something of that ilk, but I wasn't sure whether I had to hand my toffees round because there was only about 7 of us in the audience, and it was like sitting in your front room with strangers. So, but over the years, I've got used to it. I'm very good at adapting to that kind of experience.
Yeah.
So, so you like to cook, you like to watch films, you like to read books, and you like to cook. You're just my kind of woman. So, so it's been fantastic talking to you, and thank you for your
It's been
time.
lovely.
I now have to do the official bit that people tell me I have to say. So I hope you've enjoyed yourself today. And please feel free to watch this to the end, subscribe to the channel, do all the comments and likes and anything else you can think of. Tell your friends because, well, what can I tell you? You're just going to meet such fabulous people. Glenys Chatterley, EBN, business chat. See you in a week's time. And next time when I see Carina, I'll be eating cake with her. See you soon.